Okay, so the question is whether or not eating animals is ethical. I personally think that the act of eating animals itself is ethical because our species has been doing it for a long time, and eating animals itself isn't animal cruelty. Like, there is animal cruelty that goes on in the world, but eating animals itself is just the animals are raised and then they're killed, most of the time in a humane way. So most arguments against this are talking about how anything living, should be respected and not killed, right? But my question is that, does being vegan or avoiding eating meat actually really save any animals? It's hard because, right, you might save that this cow that they're gonna eat, but when you try to grow these crops for all the new vegetables that we'll have to eat if, we no longer eat meat, you have to kill every animal that lies under the ground. So you might save this cow, but you aren't thinking about the smaller animals that live under the ground. So being vegan and having more crops grown might actually kill more animals than it would save, which kind of goes against the whole idea of saving the animals. And according to ABC News, being vegan or vegetarian, not even just vegan, kills just as many animals as eating meat does. So what's really the point if you're gonna claim that the reason you don't eat animals is because it kills animals? You're gonna kill the animals either way. And another main argument that people use is the fact that eating things like red meat and stuff like that is bad for the environment, which in some cases is true, but I think that we should be looking at this in a different angle. According to an article called Guardian, cow grazing is one of the things that really helps diversify and heal our earth. And the action of creating more crops for supporting a vegan lifestyle would take away this grazing from the cows and could actually hurt the environment. I'm not saying that eating meat is the most sustainable thing. However, it really isn't the big economic crisis that we think it is, because cow grazing is actually a big factor of helping diversify and heal our earth. I think that we just need to look into a more sustainable cattle farming, which promotes a constant grazing atmosphere and reproduction, so we can keep the grazing going.
Yeah, so even though humans have been eating meat for a long, long time, it doesn't mean that it is ethical for us to be doing. And I totally get it is tough for people to switch to a vegan diet, but there are so many benefits that come to everybody. The earth benefits greatly, and the animals benefit greatly. And in reality, we're saving more lives of animals when we stop farming animals to eat. And also according to PETA, animals have feelings just like we do, so that immediately makes it unethical to kill them for human consumption. And also, prior to being killed, we are putting them through hours and days, months of struggle through deforestation. They lose their habitat, and then we put them in slaughterhouses where they get split from the families, and already they're stressing, they're feared, they're alone, and they're living in poor conditions. And deforestation also affects our environment. It causes climate change, and also according to a study I found through PETA, producing one hamburger uses enough fossil fuel to fuel a small car for 20 miles. And there are millions of burgers consumed every year. That is a huge, huge effect on this environment. And also another thing I found was, out of all the minerals and fossil fuels we're using in the United States, 1/3 of them are strictly devoted to raising animals to be killed for human consumption through meat. And it's time we stop killing animals and we switch to a vegan diet to protect the lives of animals and let them live lives joyfully and gracefully, while also preserving our earth for long term, for generations to come.
Okay, so you mentioned that eating meat is a form of animal cruelty. And honestly, like, that is the one point that I will concede. Like, I won't say that eating meat itself is cruel, but I will say that a lot of the things that we do to animals up until the point that they're killed and eaten is cruel. And I completely agree with that, and in no way do I support that. Like, animal cruelty is wrong in all sense of the word. However, if we focus on maybe regulating the farms that raise the cattle, stuff like that, if we focus on that, we can make it so the animals don't have to feel alone, they don't have to feel scared, they can just live their life, and then, you know, eventually we'll have to kill them, which is the thing that raises the most controversy. But honestly, the act of killing them isn't, you know, it isn't that cruel. Like, in most cases, their deaths itself are quick and humane. So if we were just to ensure that they grew up in a safer environment and, you know, were raised in good conditions, stuff like that, it would make their lives more enjoyable, and then we could still eat the meat. And honestly, growing them up in better conditions might even make the food taste better. So it could really benefit. It could benefit like everyone if we would just, you know, make it so there was more regulation on how the animals had to be raised. But I don't think the act of actually just killing them is that cruel, because it's normally quick and humane.
Yeah, so in your claim, you claim that we're killing animals when we plant crops for the animals to eat before we kill them for meat. That is true, but that is gonna happen no matter if we have vegan diets where we only eat crops and other naturally grown items, or we have to feed animals. It's the same thing when there is that risk where animals living in the earth could die, but at the same time, we're gonna be saving millions of other lives while also preserving our environment. And according to the Humane League, a vegan diet saves on average one animal a day. So if we could get majority of our population to switch to a vegan diet, we're already saving millions of animals every day, which just multiplies by the year. And also, the claim that you had regarding the fact that veganism isn't an effective environmental solution was not true. Actually, the work done in animal agriculture is already a huge contributor to our climate change, and we're already seeing raises in like the Earth's temperature, which are causing icebergs in Antarctica to start melting, the water levels rising. And recently, a study done at the University of Colorado Boulder, it was proven that raising livestock for human consumption actually generates more global greenhouse gas emissions than all of our transportation systems combined.